Hi boys and girls, today we're going to talk about a plan sheet that we're going to start using to plan our wow pieces. The reason we're doing this sheet is to make your thinking very visible so that you can really see how your ideas come about and what your steps are going to be before you begin. The first thing you need to do is think of what your idea is. What's your inspiration? For this example, my inspiration is going to be the artwork of Vincent van Gogh. And specifically, I'm really inspired by the way that he paints with his brush strokes and the colors he picks, the really bright colors. So I'm going to use that as my inspiration. So this is an example of one of his paintings that I find to be very interesting. So my inspiration for number one says idea. What is my inspiration? So for that, I would write down something about Van Gogh or how he puts paint down. So I'm going to write down Van Gogh's painting style. And that's pretty straightforward. So you're just going to write down what your idea is, what you are inspired by. Step 2 says research. How will I feed my idea? Circle the choices that apply. For this step, there's a lot of suggestions in these two boxes, and you can also write in another way to do research. So for this, I'm going to be circling what I think I would do. I would be finding pictures to use. In fact, I was looking through my image file of landscapes and I found this really cool picture of a sunset or a sunrise, a sunset. And I love the colors in it and the clouds. And so I'm not so sure if I would use the giraffe, but I think I would use this to look at so that I can get some ideas about the shape of the clouds and the colors. And I might try to do something like this using Van Gogh's brush stroke technique. I might do some reading about my idea. I might watch a video. A lot of times students like to look at how-to videos in my class, and I think that's a great idea. Just make sure you ask me first so I can help you find an appropriate video. You could do some writing about your idea or make a list of ideas. Exploration and practice, that's what we do a lot in art. We try new things. Working with a friend, doing partner work, that could be one way that you feed your idea. You could ask me for a demonstration. So if you're really interested in an idea but you don't know how to do it, I would be happy to sit with you and show you some things about that. Or other. So for this, I'm going to put down, maybe I would put down watching a video, because maybe I would find it very interesting to watch a short video about Van Gogh and how he used color or how he used his oil paints. And then I need to give my idea time to grow. So that incubate step number 3 is where you give your idea time to grow. And you have to do that before you get to art class. That's where this gets a little tricky, because if you fill this in an art class, I'm going to be assuming and hoping that you've already thought about the top part before you got to my class. You've already done your research at home, you've already given it time to grow at home, because if you wait till art class, you don't have time to do that step. Step 4 is create, and that's where you're going to lay out what your plan is, the steps you're going to follow in order to make your artwork. So first I'm thinking if I was going to be painting this picture, the first thing I would do is I would probably do a pencil sketch. So I'm going to write down pencil sketch. The second thing I would do, and I'm going to write a little 2 there, is I would probably paint the background of the sky, not the clouds, but the background of the sky first. So I'm thinking that would be my second step. And probably my third step would be to paint the clouds. My fourth step would probably be to paint the ground, the foreground. And then my fifth step might be to sign my artwork. So those are pretty short descriptions. They're not very long descriptions, but they tell me what my steps are going to be. So I'm really clear on that. And that has to do with our studio habit of envision. Envision is when you can think and picture the steps in your head before you do them, and that's really important. So this step really has to do with our studio habits of mind. At the bottom, it says materials needed. And that's the part where I would start to think about what kind of materials I will use. And I think I would use white construction paper. I think I would use tempera paint. And a brush, obviously. And you don't have to put any cleanup things here because I'm going to assume that you know how to clean up. So you don't have to include cleanup in your description of your process or your materials needed. Once you're done with this, you have to make sure you write your name and class code. Please don't forget your name and class code. Make sure you get that on there and then bring it to me when you're done so I can initial it and make sure that you did all of the parts. Thank you.